Welcome to the Top Secret Wedding Podcast, and today's top secret tip is a definition. Specializing means that you do one thing better than anything else. Remember that when you're setting up your marketing.
And for today's episode, if you want to find out how to make more money by working less, listen to this episode to find out.
Here we go.
Let's go.
This is the Top Secret Wedding Podcast, where we share top secret tips to help you take your wedding game to the next level.
I'm Annika, and I'm a wedding coordinator, enthusiast, and venue manager for one of the best venues in Idaho.
I'm Chris, and I'm a DJ, master of ceremonies, and all-around lover of weddings.
We're on a mission to improve weddings and wedding professionals everywhere.
So today, what are we talking about, Chris?
Today we're talking about selling to your skills, selling to your assets, selling to what you have. And we're going to get into why that matters. And let's talk about the whys first, right?
Yeah. So whys, I think right off the bat, if you start selling to your specialty, you're going to get better clients, the clients that you want, I don't think it's all about getting all the clients, but it's getting the clients that you want.
Yeah. Obviously, when you first start, you want to try and get all the clients to figure out what you want. But you're going to get better clients. Second, you're going to get a higher income for specializing in whatever that thing is you're specializing in.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about what that looks like.
Yeah. And then, it's also going to identify weak points and where you want to spend your money.
Yep.
It's going to help you identify.
Yep, definitely. So let's talk about better clients. One, it sets the expectation for your clients, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a wedding venue, right? And somebody comes in and they say, I want gorgeous chandeliers and I want all these. You're like, well, we're not the venue for you because we're mostly outdoors, right?
Yes.
So you're setting the expectation for what clients you want, and your clients will understand that too. And I think that that's really powerful. Obviously, like we said before, you don't always want every single client, but when you start out, you got to figure out what that client looks like.
Yeah. Well, and I think even setting the expectation not only for what you want with your clients, but setting the client's expectation for what you can provide, It's so easy to say, oh, well, this is what you want. Oh, I want to make this sale, so I'm going to throw this in or I'm going to do this. But if you stick true to what you provide and who you are, you're going to find those ideal clients.
Yeah, definitely. And the benefit also to that is that you'll get clients looking for you specifically because that's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And you can charge more when you're almost all word of mouth than if somebody just finds you on a Google ad.
Oh, yeah.
So, if you can somehow get clients looking for you specifically to connect with you, it's like a match made in heaven.
It is. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So
let's talk about how you can get higher income with this.
Yes.
Right. So
everyone wants more money. So
yeah. So like we said at the beginning, specializing means that you do that one thing better than everything else. It's a pet peeve of mine when people say we specialize in weddings and birthdays and quinceañeras, and I'm like, no, you don't specialize in anything if you specialize in everything. So you really want to find what you're best at and specialize in that thing.
Yeah, I think it's just so powerful what you said of if you specialize in everything, then you specialize in nothing. It's so easy to want to make as many bookings as possible and please everybody that you're like, oh, I do this and this and this and this. But find the one thing that sets you apart and work off that. It's just gonna send you to the top.
Yeah.
So.
My wife and I were big fans of Gordon Ramsay.
Yes.
Love Gordon Ramsay. And he always, anytime he goes into like a new hotel or restaurant for like Hotel Hell or restaurant, whatever they're called, I can't remember. And he looks at their menu and it's like 6 pages long. He's like, how can you cook all of this and any of it be good?
Yeah.
And he always takes it down to a 1-page menu so that they can really nail those. In-N-Out Burger, favorite restaurant.
Is that your favorite
one thing and they do it perfectly.
And it's so like these are your options.
Exactly.
There's nothing else.
Exactly. Free business idea. Make a restaurant that does Italian, Mexican, and American and have one perfect dish from all of those.
Yeah.
And then your family can go out and have all different food, but it's perfect. Anyways, all right. Steal that, but credit me. Okay, so specializing. I think also people are willing to pay for the expert in that one thing.
Yes, 1,000%.
If they know that you are the best, like I'll say LaBelle, if they know that LaBelle is the best outdoor wedding venue, then they're going to go to that and they're going to be willing to pay more.
Exactly.
They do pay more.
Yeah, no, they do. Well, and that's the interesting thing, is we get so many tours, but it's brides who are looking for us specifically, and they see the price tag and they're like, honestly, they're like, I don't care because you're what I want and I'm willing to pay that.
Yep.
So.
Yep, exactly. And, another thing that's cool about it is if you decide to specialize in one thing, you can get really good at that because you don't have to worry about those other things.
Yeah, exactly.
And, for us, we've decided to focus on weddings. That's what we do. And we do a few like birthday parties and dances and schools and stuff like that here and there.
Sprinkle-ins.
Yeah, we do that just to keep it interesting. But because we're focusing on weddings, that trickled down a little bit to the other things, the skills that we learned doing weddings. But we just have gotten so much better at weddings than anything else that that's what people know us for and that's what people hire us for. And we've been able to innovate in that space and find new ways to do things, and it's exciting. Whereas if we were just trying to do every single gig that came our way, couldn't do that.
Yeah, well, and I think if you tried to do every single gig that came your way, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like your quality would go down just because you don't have that specialty,
Have to.
Exactly. It's like, hey, you're just adapting all the time, and it just, you cover everything. I'm losing my word, but the opposite of specializing.
Right.
You're generally
generalizing.
You're generalizing everything. So.
Yep, definitely. So that kind of brings us to our next point that if you identify what your strengths are, what you specialize in, and then you're able to identify where your weaknesses are. And this is where the selling comes in, right?
Yeah.
So if you are, let's say you're a single op DJ, then you are going to want to say in your marketing, you will always get the owner of the company. You will always get the best DJ at your event.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're a multi-op company, you have a lot of DJs that work for you, then you can say, we'll make sure to have a DJ that fills your event that fits your personality.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So that way you're not pigeonholing yourself, but you're specializing instead. It's much better. Some general strengths and weaknesses is new versus experience, right? If you're a new wedding vendor, then you can focus on, we have really good prices, right? And people know, right? They know what that means.
Yeah.
But if you're newer, then you focus on, we have really good prices. Whereas if you're experienced, then that's what you focus on.
You focus on that experience and saying, okay, like we've been in this business for 20 years and we know what we're doing. And nicely.
Exactly. So nicely in a good way. So let's talk about some specifics. Let's talk about like venues, right?
Yeah.
A large venue versus a small venue. How do you sell that for your venue?
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, when it comes to selling that for our venue, one of our key things is that we provide a venue consultant. So you have someone who is with you the entire step of planning, once that's assigned. They're with you the whole day, all of that. So we do have a team, but we focus more on that individual connection than the whole team, if that makes sense.
Yeah. But they know that you have a team.
But they know we have a team.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because they know we have it, but I think it's like they know, but they don't realize they know. Because we say, oh, well, we include setup and takedown. But I don't think they think about, oh, well, that means there's a team doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so we like to focus on that individual connection, but we do also, in passing, mention that we have a team.
Yeah.
It's going to take care of it all for you.
Yeah. So you're really playing to kind of both strengths, which is cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. So.
Also, how do you sell like the large venue versus, because you actually kind of have both.
We kind of have both. Yeah.
Large outdoor, small indoor.
Yeah. Well, and it's actually really interesting too, because even with our outdoor space, we can, when people ask us, how many can you host? We've hosted weddings up to 400.
Yeah.
But we've also hosted like 20 like intimate elopements,
cool.
But even with the outdoor venue, it's really unique because we have different ceremony options. And so you can have this beautiful venue on 7 acres, but if you choose this ceremony location, it's really small and intimate,
Yeah.
you know? Or if you want a big party, we have that as well.
Right.
It's really catered to what the couple wants.
Yeah.
And even the indoor space, is a lot more intimate and smaller. And so we kind of offer, it's kind of funny because it's like, okay, well, that's not specializing because it's everything, but you can specialize.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I think because you have the small space and the large space, depending on what they're looking for, you can really play both sides of the field.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So.
Not everybody can do that.
Yeah.
You guys are unique. But let's say you have an outdoor venue. One of the things that you might play to in your marketing is you have gorgeous scenery, right?
Yeah.
Beautiful, right? All of those things.
A big strength if you do have an outdoor venue that we play to is because of the natural beauty, you don't need as many decorations.
Oh, sure.
And so that's a big thing with brides is, that's going to be a big expense. How do we decorate everything? How much is all that going to cost to rent and bring in and set up? And well, if you have an outdoor, it's easy to play to. Well, honestly, you only really need some centerpieces, maybe an arch piece, and that's it because it's already so beautiful.
And it's true. It's not just a line. Like it really is. It's true. Mm-hmm. But then if you have the indoor space, then the way that you can play that is you don't have to worry about weather. Right?
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
You got to find those strengths of what you can play to. You don't have to worry about weather. You have air conditioning. So if it's hot, you don't have to worry about it. If it's cold outside, you've got heat. Like you got to find those strengths.
So in your marketing, look at what those strengths are, and market towards that. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about like DJs, for example. So when I first started, I didn't have a wireless mic. I just had a corded mic. And so the way that I marketed that is reliability, right?
Yeah.
You're never going to have that mic drop out because it's always going to be plugged in.
Yeah.
Versus if I have a wireless mic, you've got flexibility. And obviously when you spend more, you still have that stability. But
right.
So for me, when I first started, I would pay for the stuff that I could, and anything I couldn't afford, I would find a way to make up for it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So wireless mics. I already talked about single op versus multiple DJs. And then let's talk about photographers, how photographers might specialize in this. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. So I think one thing with photographers is like, okay, so who do you specialize in photographing? Is your specialty weddings? Is it family? Is it like products and branding? Like finding what your specialty is so important, when it does come to weddings. Is it, small adventure elopements? Is it your traditional wedding where you're then corralling a whole family? Because it's all specialties. It's different. If you have to get 400 people into a picture, that's going to be a different skill set than hiking in and doing an adventure elopement in Grand Teton or somewhere,
Yeah, that's totally true. And again, if they see on your Instagram that every photo is perfectly manicured family photos, they're going to say, oh, that's what I want, right?
Yeah,
as opposed to if it's beautiful action shots at a wedding day, like they're going to want
exactly
that. So make sure you figure out what you're good at and play to your strengths of that instead of just trying to do everything, because then it gets watered down.
Well, and I think too, especially with photographers, they have such a unique situation with editing styles where, hey, if you like the darker, moody editing tones, then play to that strength, because you're gonna find brides who are like, well, that's what I want. Like some want the natural light. I don't know the actual terms for it, but the lighting, you know, and others want the darker and moody. And play to your strength of what you're good at, because you're gonna find the clients that want that specifically.
I don't know if it's just me, but it's hard for me sometimes, because I'm a people pleaser. I want everybody to like me, right? And to think that there are people out there that don't like my performance, don't like my service. Oh, it kills me. But at the same time, I know that for every person that doesn't like that, there are other people that's what they are
want.
searching for.
Exactly.
So it's okay. And, we talked a little bit about this on community over competition, but you don't want to get every client because there are plenty of people that can take those clients.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I mean, I feel like I've grown a lot and have come to that decision of like, oh, well, if they're not my ideal client, then I'm fine, you know. But if they come to my venue and they're like, oh, well, I want a beautiful chandelier and a ballroom, and well, that's not us. Sorry, we're rustic. So here's some other options, and that's where that community comes in.
Yeah, I remember years ago I did this teen, I think it was a 15-year-old party, something like that, and we just kind of have a general policy that we don't like to play raunchy music to young kids.
Yeah,
it feels icky to me. So I remember this event, and I had let them know that that's our general policy, and they said, okay, that's fine. And then after they signed the contract, they gave me the music. And I had trouble listening to some of the music in preparation for it. It was real raunchy.
Yeah.
But I had already signed the contract, and I knew I had to do it.
Yeah.
And fast forward to the day of the event, as I was walking into the house, I just felt like sick to my stomach as I was leaving because I'm like, I gotta play this dirty music to these kids, and it just doesn't feel right. But after that event, at the end of the night, I was like, I never want to do that again.
Yeah.
I never want to do that again because it's just not what I do. And so we don't do those kinds of events. If people want to do that, then we say, here's another guy that he'd do great. And no judgment, no morality judgment, anything like that. That's just the decision we've made. And there are other people that do that really, really well. But because I've gone through that, I know I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And likely as a wedding vendor, you've gone through those things, those situations, those clients that you don't want to deal with anymore. Cool. Write up your marketing so you don't have to deal with them anymore.
Well, yeah. And I think that's what's so important is obviously you don't want to be in situations where you feel uncomfortable. But if you go through something like you just, talked about, it helps you identify and go, okay, that helps me narrow in on who my ideal client is. Yeah. And now I know, and now I can avoid that.
Yep. Definitely. One other thing that I wanted to mention at the end as we're wrapping up here is that when you specialize in something, it helps you identify the weak points that you have as a business. So what I mean by that is, so let's say, we'll go back to the microphone example, right?
Yeah.
If clients are constantly asking, do you have wireless mics? Do you have wireless mics? Do you have wireless mics? No, I don't. So that's something that you can improve on. If you specialize in weddings and you're working really hard every single wedding to do this one thing and it's taking you tons of time, invest some money into that one thing so you don't have to take as much time.
Yeah, totally.
So for us, our CRM, our back end, we've spent a ton of time fixing our CRM and our sales process and all of that. So when a client comes in, we go through the consult, and within 5 minutes, I can have a contract to them.
That's awesome.
Boom.
Yeah.
Super fast.
Yeah.
And it didn't used to be that way. I used to have to bring it into Google Docs and fill it out and change their names. And now it's just all automated.
Yeah.
The same with our planning process. Within half an hour, they have all the planning documents after our planning meeting. So they can go through it. So we've really we've identified the things that take us the most time, and we've put money towards those things and training. So that we don't have to worry about that.
Well, and I think that's just so important is to when it comes to booking or any part of the process, find where the friction is and smooth that friction out. It's just going to help you book that many more clients.
We had to do a podcast on that.
Yeah.
Removing friction from the sales process.
Remove friction.
Because every once in a while I'm on a website and I'm like, why are you making it so hard for me to give you money?
No, exactly. That's the thing, you want to make it so easy and remove that friction. So
anytime a client calls me and they're like, do you take this type of payment or whatever, I'm like, and I say jokingly, but also seriously, I'm like, look, if you want to give us money, we'll find a way to take it. We will find a way.
You want to find that,
maybe not Bitcoin, but I mean, maybe even then. We'll make you pay a premium, but we'll take it.
Yeah.
So anyways.
We'll do an episode on that.
Yeah, I think we should. So that's our take on selling to your skills, selling to your talents, selling to your assets. Again, just kind of recapping, you're going to get better clients and you're going to have a higher income for specializing, and you're going to be able to identify places where you can improve as a vendor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you next time.
See ya. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Top Secret Wedding Podcast.
Subscribe, rate, and review us, and we'll see you next time.